G'day everybody. Today I'm just going to do a little video for some of my friends and other people who are interested in travelling around New South Wales on the $2.50 ticket for seniors and pensioners, of course, but I think the first thing you need to do is have a piece of paper and a pen and just write down 13 22 32. That's the number you ring to make a reservation on the trains and buses in New South Wales, the long distance train and bus services. A couple of important notes, shall I say, and these are important issues. You can only book 1 week before travel. So you have to work out where you want to go and what you want to do. Now there are also 3 gaps in the system that designed so that people will not travel the whole state, as it were, with the $2.50 ticket. But you can get around that a little bit on at least a couple of the areas, and I'll be explaining how to get around those particular gaps and to enable you to travel on that $2.50 ticket much more extensively than they would like you to, in other words. So I'll give you some hints on possible trips, and it's very important that you go online and type in New South Wales train link and get all of their timetables and sit down and actually work out a whole series of timetables, and just before we start, in other words, bear in mind these gaps. The $2.50 ticket is not permitted between Dungog and Gloucester on the North Coast line, so a person can go it's very easy to describe this. From Sydney you can go to Dungog, but you can't go, in fact, between Dungog and Gloucester on it. So there is another thing you can do, which is if you're travelling in from Queensland, you can go, for example, from Tweed Heads on the border, go to Casino, stay overnight in the motel there, and I've stayed at the Squatters Motel, which is only a 10-minute walk from the station. There's a couple of fast food sort of places like McDonald's and KFC right across the road from the motel, and you can walk up to the station. And going towards Sydney, a train leaves about 8:20 in the morning. In the meantime, what you do is, let's just assume you're leaving on just say a Tuesday. You need to ring up on Monday if you're in Brisbane, and you say, oh well, on Tuesday I want Tweed Heads to Casino, and then I want Casino to Taree. Then don't mention what you're going to do, because what happens is you go to the Casino the first day on Tuesday, and on Wednesday you go to Taree. Now you can stay overnight and just get on the coach, $2.50 out of Taree, 9 o'clock, down to Broadmeadow, and you have to pay another $2.50 to go to Broadmeadow. In other words, you have an Opal card, or that's one of the first things you've got to get obtained, by the way, is an Opal card. Now, if you're only a casual traveller from other states, they only give you 6 weeks on the Opal card. So around about a month or so before you leave, you apply through Opal, get the card, a concession, you ask for a concession card, and that'll entitle you to $2.50 travel. But let's just say that's one of the ways of doing it, coming from Queensland, I should say. Another thing you can do is travel half fare and get a sleeper. So if you left on Tuesday, you would get the bus down to Casino and get on a sleeping car from Casino to Sydney, getting there Wednesday morning. Now on Thursday, on using the Opal card, this is very important to have one of these. one of the trips I'd like to do is down to Moss Vale, and have also, before you go, a ticket from Moss Vale. For example, if you wanted to go to Griffith on the Saturday, or if you wanted to go, in my case, I was thinking about going Moss Vale to Junee on the Friday. You also book the Saturday train from Junee across to Griffith, and on Sunday, Griffith through to Cootamundra, and then on the train, and then by coach across to Orange. And on Monday you go to Broken Hill, and Tuesday you can come back to Bathurst, and Wednesday you go to Sydney. And of course, if you want to, you can travel by train through to Broadmeadow, and there is a bus from Broadmeadow all the way to Taree, but you can get off, for example, at Gloucester. Now you can also pre-book Gloucester to Casino, and then Casino through to Tweed Heads on the bus that leaves there at 8:35 in the morning, goes via through the Gold Coast, in other words, Byron Bay, and then it goes through to Tweed Heads. Now there are numerous other trips that can be done, including you go Sydney to Bathurst, and then there's 4 days a week there's a bus from Bathurst down to Cootamundra, and from there, of course, the daily train goes Cootamundra down to Albury. So if you're talking from the Victorian point of view, you would book a train Melbourne to Albury, and then the next day, if you were wanting to go to Sydney for only $5, you would have already booked, but you ring them up, say, before leaving home, and you'd say, oh, well, you might ring up on the Friday. You might say, oh, on Monday I'd like, we'll check on the buses, by the way. There's a bus, you have to check the actual departure days on this one. I want to go to Bathurst, and they go, yes, and you just have your Opal card with you, and then the next day you go to Sydney. That'll cost you $5. But you could also go, for example, places like Dubbo, or you could go to Condobolin, which is another one. There's a daily bus from Cootamundra to Condobolin. And of course, there are buses going from Condobolin every day, or several days of the week actually, not every day, so that you could go to Orange and then get on the train to go to Bathurst. And then of course you stay overnight at the Victoria Hotel, which is across the road from the Bathurst railway station. Very reasonably priced, and you get a light breakfast, and it's $43 for a single. It's quite good. So very importantly, you use that phone number and stick within 7 days booking period. And there are numerous other trips around the state that you can do. Now, I was beginning to tell you about these two gaps that you can't use your $2.50 ticket on. One of them is Goulburn to Gunning, and another one is Scone to Murrurundi in the northwestern line. So it stops you from using the $2.50 over those sections. So logically, if you went to Goulburn on the $2.50, you could have a ticket from Goulburn, say to Albury if you want to go to Victoria, or you might say on a Saturday go to Griffith. And another interesting trip, by the way, not on the $2.50, but V-Line has a coach, Sundays at a reasonable time, I think it's 10 o'clock in the morning, goes down to Shepparton, or you get a train to Melbourne. So I've given you a basic outline of what you can do. But there are numerous things in the metropolitan area available for the $2.50 ticket. All the trains and the light rail, which I prefer to call trams, and the ferries, with a limit being Nowra in the south and Goulburn, Bathurst out in the west, and in the north you can go as far as Dungog, or you could go to Scone. So that just gives you a very basic guide on where you can go and what you can do, bearing in mind the 7-day booking And this is not a barrier at all to your travel. You can stay for even longer, but you just book a few trips. And one of the clues, by the way, for anyone coming from Queensland is if you book Tweed Heads to Casino, it's only a relatively short trip, about a 3 hour, 2.5 hour trip or something. The next day there's a fairly long run casino all the way to Taree. You can pick up the tickets in casino at the railway station. And when you identify yourself at Tweed Heads, the coach will come in. It'll leave there at about 4:57 in the afternoon. You get there at say 4 o'clock, and you wait and you have a cuppa or something, and you go and get out front at 20 to 4. You wait and you get, no, 20 to 5 I meant to say. The bus comes in, it's empty basically, and you just get on it, and they'll ask you your name, and they say, oh, Joe Bloggs. All right, Mr. Bloggs. You arrive in a casino and immediately go into the railway station and you identify yourself and say, I'm picking up a ticket, I'm going to go down to Taree tomorrow, and they say, yep, here's your ticket. Now you might have also booked, as I said, you might have done something like Bathurst to Broken Hill. That'll cost you $2.50. Or you might have done Bathurst to Burke, that's only $2.50. Or you might do, as I was saying before, Griffith. You might be in Griffith, you might want to go to Orange, and then you might want to go to Broken Hill and so forth. Now that's a guide, so please understand all of that. And if you have any questions, you can ask me, and I can also suggest some itineraries and places to go if you wish. But I hope this information has been a benefit to you, and that you'll enjoy future trips around New South Wales using the pensioner and seniors card $2.50 ticket while they last, because we don't know, no one knows whether the price is going up, or whether there's going to be an attempt to change the zones and the conditions of travel and so forth. At the moment, that's how it is. Here we are in 2017, that's what the situation is. So thank you for viewing that.